Good morning, Reaper family. How are you this morning?
Hello, everyone.
Our sultry tones this morning will, I don't know, hopefully not put you back to sleep if you've been at work for several hours already. Hi, guys. So how's it going? Like today, we're going to do faces. I decided to hold off the Fiery Hellhound until tomorrow. So Fiery Hellhound will be the feature tomorrow. Yeah, the infamous reset countdown clock, Robin Boy Wonder, that is absolutely what we had to do this morning as my dog had an accident, so I had to clean it up. So it was like we were on, and then I had to go and do, I was on time, and then I had to do that, and that made me late coming up, so we had to do a couple of resets. But yeah, so it's been one of those mornings, but I'm in an excellent mood, and I hope you all are too.
And for the sake of being persnickety, I'm gonna run the right intro now.
Oh, he's gonna run the right intro. I will not say what I usually say when he runs the intro. So yes, Justin is very persnickety and was very annoyed that he ran the wrong intro. We didn't want to, use Ed's intro or the other intro. We wanted our intro. Yeah, well, she's in Coffee Nerdery Beer. She's an old dog. She just turned 12 in January earlier this month. So she is, she does have those accidents. She is the thing. You grin and bear it. She's been with me for 12 years. She's my girl. Yes, good morning, all. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
So today we're going to talk about skin tones a lot because I'm painting faces, but faces at 28 mil are pretty simple. So I actually brought, those of you on my Patreon will be familiar with the Julie and Dragonette, the Julie Sorceress with Dragonette bust that was coming up with Bones 5. I have a preview resin copy of this. So I have been playing with it for various things. The first one was transparent cloth on my Patreon that I just did. But we're going to kind of reference her a little bit. And we've got Ingrid the Gnome actually she's in a Learn to Paint Kit Layer Up that Rhonda did. But part of the reason she's in there, I suspect, is that she does have an excellent face for practicing painting. So we are going to be using her. So those who have LTPK2, if you can paint along there, or if you haven't bought the Learn to Paint Kit Layer Up, you can just get Ingrid. She's 77167. She has a very nice, clean, clear face. Derek Schubert obviously sculpted her and came from a painting background. What you'll notice is that sculptors who were painters first tend to sculpt bigger eyes. So it helps. Werner Klock also was a Golden Demon winning painter before he was an award-winning sculptor. So yeah. Doggy should come on the stream. She would probably come in, like, stick her snoot in my paint and then lie down next to me, because that's what she usually does. Oh, Trash, yes, Trasharama has the Painting Big logo now. Notice we have a icon. Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Trash.
No problem.
For giving me my little dragon.
Yes, Trash has been a huge help for the new emote slot filling because, time is definitely valuable for us up here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got so much to do. Yes, Werner, well, he's German, Bug Lips. Really, that's all you need to know. We won't talk about sparkle parties or anything, but, he does love his buckles. And actually, you can blame Izzy on that because it was almost all talent art because Werner and Izzy worked together so well. Like, Werner loved Izzy's art and Izzy loved Werner's sculpts. So, essentially, Izzy would draw tons of buckles and Werner would faithfully sculpt tons of buckles. So you can blame that, a little bit of that on Izzy. Yes, the clock and booty. Yay, I'm glad you like my little dragon head. I love my logo. I actually just got more stickers. I had my other stickers before, which if you catch me at a con, I may have some of these. But I just got holographic version ones that are all rainbows. It's super awesome.
I need one of those.
You need a holographic painting big sticker? All right. I'll probably use them for a promotion for my Patreon at some point.
I need two, actually. I need one for this laptop and one for John's.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. That would rock. Sigwolf, Aaron Lovejoy made a comment to me when you're at Reapercon. A lot of sculptors who aren't painters don't understand how some choices they make will cause the painters to curse them endlessly. Yes, and some sculptors know that and still do it because it's what they do. And that's the war of art, right? It's like the sculptor has an artistic vision, the painter has an artistic vision, and sometimes you're just doomed to curse on one end or the other. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I do stickers. I love stickers. So one of my next Patreon special offer may actually be some stickers because I've been really looking forward to it. There is never, Robin Boy Wonder, there's never a giveaway for this show yet. We're trying to find a special giveaway. We don't want to just throw stuff that doesn't make sense, you know? And right now we can't really do paint easily because it's winter and a lot of times it might freeze getting to you guys if we're just mailing a couple bottles of paint. So for right now, we don't have a giveaway for the show. Keep tuned. We will eventually. Also, this was kind of a pilot for us, right? We hadn't ever tried a morning slot, and so we thought we would try it and see how it was. And then as we go, we can promote a bit more. Question for Anne. I know they do. Well, maybe that'll get more people to Patreon, although a lot of you guys are already on my Patreon, and thank you. I value you so much. You have no idea how happy you make me. We're almost to $1,000. I can't wait to get there. When we get there, I'll open up some email coaching levels. That'll be fun. I think we only have like $50 left. Like I only need like 5 to 10 more patrons. So let's see. Specific Anne question. Painting a half Minotaur, half human. I want his skin to have a red hue from the Minotaur side, but have some human skin tones. I would actually do what I do with Tieflings Viva Aqua. I would actually use redstone highlight and then mix tan skin into it. And then just add white to the tan skin to bring it up. So your shadows stay reddish and your highlights go more toward the human skin tone. And I find that works really well with Tieflings and would work well for this as well. Geez, we have all these questions this morning. I don't have holographic stickers yet, Jedi Jared. I have them at home. I did not bring them in. But yeah, what's the difference between a wash and a liner? Liner is a specific type of paint that is thinner out of the bottle, but a wash is any paint mixed with water and sometimes with a medium, such as our brush-on sealer or a matte medium to create the correct consistency. A liner is used for lining, can use it for dark shading as well. You can make a liner into a wash, but a liner is not a wash until you add water. Planar Crossroads. Yes. See, we're giving away free information every day. But people don't value information as much as they should. That's okay. I'll keep talking. You know, there's an infinite appetite for information, so here I am. And yes. All right. Here for the show, not the giveaway. Yes, Rings, you are awesome. Not very up yet. Only 3 cups of coffee. I only had 1 cup of tea, so I'm way behind. Yes. All right. Cool. It looks like we've kind of caught up. Best colors for tumbleweeds. Actually, I have that one. Use Shield Brown and Driftwood Brown and probably a bit of Creamy Ivory mixed into the Driftwood Lady War. Because they're kind of a pale, they're almost Driftwoody. So that's why I would think it would work. Which purple colors lean more toward red than blue? Geez, you guys are going this morning. Royal Purple, 9240. Runic Purple, 9424. Those would be 2 that would lean more toward red than blue. That are fairly, the Runic Purple is far lighter. So if you need it for a highlight, I almost always go Runic. And for the record, if you're talking about your Beholder, Styx Purple plus Runic Purple does make a good highlight for Styx Purple. Yeah, well, whenever you have time, Balrog John, it's not going to go away, right? I don't discontinue any of the old information, so you can always look back, and you can look at my New Year's post about the index. You can see all of the topics that I did last year, and you have time to go and look at them, so don't worry about it. Geez, everybody. We're never going to get to the actual video at this point. NMM on a sword, oh boy. We might have to just do a silver NMM on that one, surrender it all. I don't know if I have time to go into that before we've done skin tone. Said previously, paint manufacturer balance between coverage and color intensity. Can you say where the main makers fit on that continuum? Right now, I'd say color intensity. You've probably got our Clear Brights, the Chimera Pure Pigment paints, and the Scale 75 Tube Artist paints are probably the highest intensity. Coverage, you're going to get Vallejo. Privateer Press somewhat. They've used a hybrid. It depends on the type of base. But anything with that thick, sticky base that's kind of gluey, plasticky, is more of a vinyl hybrid, and that is going to be the highest coverage paint. So other than that, everybody a lot of companies, I think everybody but Reaper uses kind of a vinyl hybrid, like it's an artificial, synthetic vinyl, so it's not like an allergen vinyl, but it's the same thing. It has that kind of goopy consistency and high coverage, but it doesn't necessarily thin as well. All right, free knowledge emoji. Difficult colors, white, yellow, orange. I can put that on the list. Coffee Nerdery Beer. I'm always up for stuff. All right, yeah, Witchcraft Purple. Thank you, non-zero value. It was canceled, but I think it's coming back. So remember koalas. No, if you paints, that's my party trick. We're not having a party yet. It's too early. I once had little kids hold up bottles of paint, butt end out. They were here for a little painting party, and they would hold up the paint butt end out, and I would tell them what color it was, just from looking at the bottom of the bottle. That's my party trick. Actually, Balrog and this works for the steel thing too, the triad that came out for Bones 4, the Carbon Gray, Moonstone Blue, and Foggy Gray actually makes a great NMM silver or steel. The Moonstone is slightly bluish, so mixed with the Carbon Gray, it gives you that nice kind of, it gives you a good transition, and the Foggy Gray is a good highlight, although you always want to highlight your NMM silver or any NMM with pure white at the end. I am magic. Poof. I'm here every morning, aren't I? Almost every morning. All right. Should we actually get into something, Justin? Should we actually? How off topic? Oh my God, we've gotten so off topic. All right. Well, if we can't have fun, why are we here, right? It is a stream after all. It's not like a formal class. It's just we are talking about pro tips. They are asking for a lot of pro tips this morning.
That is true.
Yeah, so you probably should change the title of this episode to Faces and Miscellaneous Questions Answered, or, something like that. Yeah, see, I know you, Coobs. I spotted it. Yeah, I am that awake. Problem with NMM silver triads also, guys, just on the side, is that it's gray, So it's hard to do one that wouldn't be too close to colors we already have. Like, I typically start any NMM silver or steel with cloudy gray, 9089. And then I'll go from there depending on what I want to do. Have I tried interior decorated? No, Vimanaqua, but I have been very tempted. The closest I have come is my office at Reaper, which has 2 light sky blue walls and 2 bright spring green walls. So I don't know if that's successful, although people at first are shocked and then go, I like that. So maybe. 20,000 questions with Anne, Taslanch. Yeah, we could do a show like that, Actually, if you guys wanted to, we could just do a Ask Anne Anything show. That wouldn't be a bad idea, Justin.
An AMA with Anne.
Yeah, and it would be like little spot demos and stuff, or just answering questions like this. I mean, I've done an AMA for my Patreon before, but we're usually somewhat limited because I try not to do actual paint demos on that. Yeah. It's just questions. But we could do both here. Yes, 20,000 questions with Anne. I hope you use Ed's brushes. Yeah. Maybe we should just get in on the Discord. Well, I have my own Discord, Silverthorn, and I try to very much answer questions on there for the Patreon. That's kind of the bonus. That's one of the perks of being on my Patreon, is that I get on almost every day and I respond to people and I give them feedback, or we just talk or whatever. I don't have a lot of extra time to throw into more Discord because we all know social media sucks up your life, right? It takes a surprisingly long time to type responses to a bunch of people. Yeah, that is also the problem with an AMA with Anne or anybody is, right, you have to be able to tune in live in order to get in on the live question asking, unless Justin pre-took questions. I suppose we could do that. We could actually have people sending questions like they do on Reddit, where they can just post questions and whatever. Thank you, Planar Crossroads. I'm so glad you like my
We could also make a stream out of us just going through Discord questions. So if you're in the Discord or if you're on Reddit, I could just bring up the screen for either of those and we could just go through the questions.
Yeah, that would be a do.
Together.
That would be a do. We could totally do that. It's fun. I like answering questions because it's easy for me to talk.
So actually, since Planar's in here, Planar, do you want to make a like an Anne's questions text channel or something, and people can just dump it in there, and then we can
make an Anne questions.
Yeah,
Anne questions channel in the Reaper Discord, and then you can all just dump it in there, and Justin can just pop it up and we can go.
Just go through, Just thank you. I appreciate that, Planar.
Tasmania, drop me a message on the Patreon. I'll send you a link to invite you. Sometimes it hiccups, and so I want to make sure that you can get on there. So yeah, drop me a message on Patreon, or you can email me at painting.big1@gmail.com.
And also,
1 is a number.
There's a command for, there it is. Robin beat me to it. But if you haven't joined the Discord, there is the Discord server, the official Reaper Discord.
The official Reaper Discord,
We have the help of multiple moderators who've been hanging out on our channel for a long time.
Yes, you are all wonderful.
Yes, very, very thankful.
Because we need moderators.
Yes. I'm actually, pretty soon I'm going to be recruiting a few people that hang out on Twitch all the time to be some of my channel moderators to help us. Yeah, it makes sense. The bigger we get, the more we're going to need. Yeah, the more we need help. Yep. And then you get to be our Reaper friends. Oh, hi there, Rhonda. I just saw that you popped up, but it took a while. Woof. We've been talking nonstop this morning. We haven't even gotten into painting.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, my Patreon, just because we've been sitting here talking about it, is patreon.com/paintingbig, all one word. And yeah, it has the cute little dragon, and it has my Soldier 76 statue. So yeah, or who is crazy enough to volunteer. Yes, Planer, we like that kind of crazy. That's the kind of crazy we all love. All right, so Rhonda's going to be amused because we're using the model she used for Layer Up for our face lesson today. But yeah, there's If He Paints with the Painting Big. Yay, the little dragon head. I do love it. Yeah, that's up to Justin Muglips. I don't know if he wants goblin, if he's into goblin hand holding. I mean, all of Anne's streams are AMAs. Paul John's life, you are so right.
That's a great suggestion.
I don't like to ignore questions, so I try to answer any of them I can, unless it's so involved, like the Silver NMM one, that I just feel like I need a whole stream for it. But you know what? I can do a Silver NMM. Actually, let me just put that on. Let me grab my pen. Let's just write down Silver NMM in order to do that for an upcoming pro tip stream. There, it is now on the list. Questions for Anne is now active on the Discord. Thank you so much, Planar Crossroads. So yes. Go to the Reaper Discord. If you have a question for me, drop it into that channel, and Justin can drag it up. We can do, whenever we get enough questions, we can just do an AMA session that day.
Yep.
And just
Sounds
go.
Great. We'll just title it appropriately.
You know, yeah, I mean, Anne questions or whatever you want to do. Planar Crossroads is fine with me. I don't have a lot of preference there. I don't know how much time I'll have to actually get onto the Reaper Discord, so it's like, I'll probably save them and just answer them live because I like talking to you guys anyway. And it takes less time than typing.
With no further ado.
Yes, let's actually... Questionable Anne. Oh, that's a great one, Future Rubel. Yeah, Questionable Anne is a great one. I am totally questionable. Highly suspect.
Yep, you're
correct. Ingrid the Gnome. Yes, you are right. Because she's got such a good face for painting, right? It's nice and clear. The eyes are big. Thank you, Derek Schubert. And she's got a good mouth as well. Can actually see the shape of it. So I can contrast it with some other things. Yeah, go ahead and flip cameras. Okay, guys, let's actually get in. And look, there I've got my happy little thing. There's Ingrid. And there's Ingrid. And we are trying to zoom today to give you guys a good look at little Ingrid. She is a tiny little model, as you can see with my fingers in scale. But her face actually does come up pretty well. Actually, this is all just shadows right now. The face is just base coated. I've used rosy skin. Out of context quotes by Anne. Oh, there are so many of those, If He Paints. So many of those. Yes, Derek is very kind to us. I was pointing out the advantages of having a sculptor who had been a painter first earlier, i.e. big enough eyeballs.
Also, what paints are you using today?
All right, yeah, Justin is trying to get us back on, trying to drag us back on Comic. So what I want to talk about first is actually some of my favorite and most versatile skin tones in the Master Series line. So I figured that'd be very useful for you guys. Let me see here, let me grab them all, I'm going to put them all down, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why they're very versatile and why you should love them. And be their endless fans. And there is a color for everybody's preference, pretty much. Here we go. These are, I believe, the most useful and versatile skin tones in Master Series. You will see there is a mixture of bones and not bones core. There we go. Get everybody up here. And Bright Skin is looking very orange on here. It does not actually look that orangey. It is, however, an orangey skin tone, so I do like that on occasion. It does look very orange next to the other guys. And of course, Rosy Skin's a lot pinker, Bright Skin Shadow. We're looking a little orange. Apologies for the colors. Rosy Skin is one of my go-tos for every night. The other one, often, if I'm not doing women, because you get in ruts, right? And I used to always use Tan Skin because I love it and it's the most versatile skin tone, hands down. But I developed a recipe lately that I really like, which is Bright Skin, Shadow, and Rosy Skin, and then a highlight of your choice. That works pretty well. So I've been doing a lot of that lately. The reason these are very versatile is that they don't have a lot of black in them, and they tend to be very vibrant. It's very easy to add something to mute a skin tone if it's vibrant, but it's harder to add something bright to a muted skin tone to make it more vibrant. So I like to start with a lot of intensity in the skin, and then you can always add things to damp it down if you think it looks too bright. So Probably my big go-tos these days are still going to be rosy skin and tan skin, although I'm using more and more youthful flesh. I really am getting to like it because I do like a skin tone that's a little bit orangier to start with, is then from there you add pink tones where they belong, and that's where you get some moderation in your color, just like in my hand where you've got definite orangey parts, and then, you know, on the knuckles you get a lot pinker, you know, like that. And that's what skin does, right? You've got a lot of orange though. When it comes down to it. And so actually I think youthful flesh is pretty close to a lot of skin tones. See, it just needs a little bit more pink to be my skin tone, and I do not have everybody's skin tone. So for lighter skin tones, I find these are very, very versatile. For those who have not seen my other episode of this, it was a long time ago on Reaper Toolbox that talked about our skin tones. But if you are looking for an Asian skin tone, it is golden skin. That's the 90, 90, 90, 91, 90, 92. It's a very good Asian skin tone. And when you need to make it a little pinker for areas like knuckles or noses, then just add a tiny bit of clear red or fresh blood to it. And then we have olive skin, which is a little harder to work with, but it really is. It does look like a Mediterranean olive skin tone. And then, of course, two other skin tones that I absolutely go to all the time if I want dark skin is going to be Ruddy Flesh 9441 and Ebony Flesh 9440. Those are my African, Arabic type of skin tones for the most part. I also use dark skin and dark skin highlight a lot, 9041 and 9042. So... yeah, I guess so, OMG. I have to admit that it ended up that way. Although rosy skin is also, it's like my skin is actually, there we go. Rosy skin's actually closer. So there we go. I'm not calling myself. I am not that youthful, trust me. Pretty ancient, actually. Oh, I'm glad, Caesar. I'm glad that you were impressed with the quality. I mean, we try, right? I'm kind of a paint snob, so if the paint isn't working, I get very persnickety about it. And that was totally, actually, OMG6. That was, the Ed face is appropriate, because that's something totally he would say. All right, so pale flesh is kind of, it's kind of an old callback color to a Games Workshop color that I used to like called pallid flesh or pallid skin. And it is very pink. It's very pale and very pink. And originally what Games Workshop used to do with it is use it for vampiric skin. It was a very pale tone. You laid it down, you highlighted it with white, and maybe you could even shade it with some purple or gray. Because it doesn't have a lot of orange, it doesn't have necessarily a lot of life to it, so you can take it kind of unhuman if you want by shading it with purples. In fact, you could shade it with like something like Drown Nipple if you really wanted to. Another excuse to use Drown Nipple pink. Any of that. There are two Dark Elf skin triads, actually. Not just the Dark Elf skin triad, which is 163, 164, and 165, but also the Dusky skin triad, which I think is oh boy, now I'm breaking down. It's around the 250 mark, I thought. But yeah, I'm losing it. But yeah, Dusky skin triad, which a lot of people ask me how to use, is also, it's an alternative draw skin triad for those who want a Dark Elf skin that's a little less purple and a little more brown. Yeah. Oh, no, I haven't seen the Humanea. That's really cool, Future Ruble. Yeah, I mean, the only problem with that is, and this is a problem whenever you're trying to copy a photograph, is that the lighting is going to make a huge difference in the color of the skin. But if they're using studio setups and so the lighting is consistent, that's actually a great idea. Dusky skin. Thank you, 250. I knew it was around 250. Haha. Thanks, Iffy. I wasn't totally gone. There are some triads that I just blank on from time to time. After you've done 500 paints, it kind of gets like that. So yeah, all right, so this is the reason I really like tan skin is it's a good baseline skin tone for guys or women. It highlights up very well by adding any off-white or white. It keeps its warmth as you highlight it with a white or off-white because it has a fair amount of ochre in it. It also makes a great blush color if you add a little bit of 9002 Deep Red, which is really one of the colors that I use to create blush and lip colors a lot. And the great thing about tan skin is it's right on the margin, and so you can take it almost any way. You can add in like mahogany brown or like a ruddy leather and get this beautiful weathered skin color that's much more brown and red, and use that as a base. If you're doing somebody like a Viking or somebody who's been out in the weather, use that first and then go up to the tan skin and to get that ruddiness to it. You can add browns to it to make it even darker, and it plays well with almost any brown. Tan skin is just like a really, and as I mentioned earlier, for like tiefling skin or minotaurs, anything you're coming up from that reddish color, you can actually start with redstone highlight and highlight it with tan skin. So to get kind of a tiefling, kind of human, but kind of demonic tone to it. Tan skin, I mean, it's one of the first skin tones I ever made, and I did it because this is the skin tone I was always looking for, period. That's it. But yeah, reds do always seem darker in the bottle. You are correct. And then they lighten when you add water. So tan skin is Anne's, big go-to. Youthful flesh, I've wanted a lighter orangier skin tone for a while, so it's a nice alternative. Bright skin is very intense. It's a very cartoony skin tone, but that makes it extremely good for things like chibis. Rosy skin, of course, for women, kind of my go-to these days. I like to shade it with bright skin shadow. Bright skin shadow can also be used, obviously, as a shadow for bright skin, or for youthful flesh, or for pale flesh. It's just an all-around good kind of blushy lip color kind of thing that you can use if you want that kind of rosy undertone to your shadows. Works best on youthful women. I use these two together a lot. All right. Yay! And the other reason I like these skin tones is that almost none of them have much or any black in them. Tan skin has a tiny bit, but it's not enough to play with its mixability. When you add black to a skin tone, you somewhat compromise how useful it is because it goes ashen very quickly with too much black in any. And that's another reason you don't want to use a very dark brown to shade skin ever, because the black in it will mix with the skin and make it go gray or green or both. Woof! All right. Wow, this was infomercial time for Anne. All right, Ingrid, let's talk about you. Let's actually usually with skin tones, actually. Usually with skin tones, I actually start dark and work light. So this is what I should have done with Ingrid and didn't think about. I started with bright skin shadow layered over the Zenith Prime here. And usually I would start there, and then I would start putting rosy or whatever I was going to use over the top of that to fill in all the spaces that would have highlights, and I would leave that color more in the shadows and in the areas I wanted to be more rosy. Since I did not do that with Ingrid, I will simply show you basic shading and highlighting on Ingrid. But yeah, usually I far prefer to start dark and work up on skin tone. It's just a habit that I formed long ago. You know what? Yeah, let's use rosy. That's another reason I like tan skin, is that it's a really good start dark, work light color, because it is fairly dark on its own. So I can start with that and then just add increments of white or another color to bring it up, and it works very well. All right, rosy skin, or rather, sorry, bright skin shadow. And I do use rosy skin shadow also with rosy skin. It's actually more of a realistic shadow in a way because it's more muted, and usually shadows will be. So it depends on the effect you're going for. So let's add a little tiny bit of water. We don't need very much of this color. I may add actually just a tiny bit of tan skin, which I already have mixed up, to mute it down just a little and darken it. All of these skin tones can be mixed with each other to great effect. Experiment. Do some things. I'm only $46 away from 1,000. Thank you, non-zero value. Woohoo! That's awesome, because at 1,000, they also let me unlock the Patreon merch thing, where Patreon will mail out merchandise for me if I pay them. Instead of me having to do it myself. And they're offering, I actually have to look at the program to see how much stuff they're offering, but it's really kind of cool. All right, so first thing I usually do if I have not started from a shadow color is I paint in my shadows. And on any face, be it big or small, come here, Julie Bust. Any face, be it big or small, you are going to have shadows underneath the brow, and often I'll just paint in the eyes. Let's see, I'm going to actually see if I can zoom just a little bit, guys. Hold on. Zoom. Come on, camera, zoom me.
You got it?
I got it. I'm trying to get my, make sure I'm in focus. Am I in focus? Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. Justin has a better eye for that on his monitor than I do. And I'll also put a shadow underneath the nose. And this is stuff you do no matter what size the face is. Underneath the chin, at the jaw. How much you want to do depends on when you get to smaller faces, but I do like to put in a little bit of a shadow where the cheekbone would be, underneath it. like so. And the other side, her shoulder's kind of up against it, but I'll add some too. And I'll probably paint the mouth just a little bit with this, since it's a pinkish color. It works. The lips. And with hair that's really overhanging, you can also put a little shadow like right up against the hairline. I'll often line between hair and skin as well, but right now we'll just do it that way. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Robin Boy Wonder is correct. Non-zero value. Right now, you actually do get all of last year's $10 content for $5 because I gave people some extra days to download. That was my special offer I ran earlier. Got me really close to the $1,000 goal. I'm so excited. You guys are so awesome for helping and supporting me. Makes me feel all sniffly, actually. I get all sentimental about my Patreon. I love you guys so much. All right, let's see here. Rosy skin. So now I kind of got a little bit blocky, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of rosy skin itself. And if I see any places where I've got just a line, like I do on her forehead there, you can see the line. I'll just kind of layer my rosy skin into that to make it a little bit more of a blend. So you sit, Ingrid, sit. I should have brought a little block to put her on. I didn't even think about it. For skin tones, layering tends to start around the 1.5 to 1, so like 3 drops to 2 drops, like 3 drops paint, 2 drops water. Skin tones have a lot of white, so they tend to want a bit more water than other darker colors. When you have a lighter color, it almost always has more white. White causes opacity, which means you have to fight it more to get it to a blendable level if you are doing layering. So I'm going to mix this up, and then I'm going to see how it works. There, I can see that forehead. There's that little streaky thing. We can see it. I tend to get very excited about things, yes. Tiffling tips. We're just going to, write down ideas for future shows because you guys are so full of it today. Tiffling tips. And that's a great title for an episode, so I'm sure Justin will be all about it. He's all about those titles.
Yes.
So I'm just going to use a layering brush stroke to kind of fudge that line a little bit and blend it in. See how it blended a little bit there? I might need to use a couple of coats if I've thinned my paint a lot, just because the paint is transparent and that line was pretty strong. But the forehead is where a lot of light is going to fall, so you do want it lighter. That blends in a lot better. I'm directly teaching on the Patreon videos, Sidwi. So essentially, I will choose a topic and I will cover it. For one thing, it's a lot shorter because people generally want a shorter video so they don't have to, watch for a whole episode to do stuff. It is a lot more targeted. I will be like, okay, we are doing 28mm eyes today. Otherwise, a lot of the information I give on there is similar to what I give here, although I often will bullet point myself on my Patreon, so I actually give out a lot more information. This is an exception. Actually, I'd say today's video is a lot like my Patreon videos in some ways. The other thing that my Patreon is different about is that usually I try to do this. I'm going to start trying to do it every single time. But on my Patreon, I actually do companion PDFs for my videos. So afterwards, you also will get a PDF that will run down some of the stuff that I talk about on camera. And you will also get like specific, written information like tips, additional info, step-by-step photos instead of having to watch the video, which you often can get a much better picture off of the photo of what's going on. Oh, that's fine. Yes, I'm Ann with an E, but I know. The PDFs are, I think, one of my main selling points because that's where I think video falls down is like, it's great to watch a video, but it's so much better sometimes when you're actually painting to have a freeze frame of what's going on. So that's kind of how the biggest difference I would say with my Patreon versus this stream is. And I try to also put additional photos. If I feel like I haven't quite covered something, I can put additional photos into my Discord sometimes. For people. Actually, I just did put that up in my $10 channel. I actually I made a special channel for my $10 and $15 backers, and my $10 channel just had a picture of the battered leather shoulder pad that I did on the Fire Giant on this show not long ago. So stuff like that, I try to save for my patrons. All right, now we need to make her eyes and her. What I did right there. Sorry, I was talking and not illustrating. This is what I don't do. This is another thing for the Patreon. I'm not always trying to look at chat and answer questions, so I can get to the topic a lot easier. So I did a 50-50 mix of my rosy skin plus I'm actually using bleached linen for my off-white today. You can highlight skin with pure white or any off-white. Just try not to choose something that's too gray or blue. So bleached linen, linen white are great off-whites to highlight skin with. Unless, of course, you're doing drow skin. Then it doesn't matter if it's blue or gray. You know, if you're already using a grayish purple. And I thinned it down. I just did a little tiny highlight. I wanted to see how it looked. Oh yeah, my $5 level is Color Workshop, where I go into specific groups of colors in MSP and kind of talk about what's in them, why they work the way they do, what they're best at, what goes with them. Lately, I've been doing a lot of alternative triads in those, where if I'm talking about a specific set of colors, I'll actually say, and you could also use this triad. Instead of the established triad, that kind of thing. Let me get my brown liner. Let me see here. Do I have my brown liner or am I going to have to use something else? This is a question. So I will usually fill in at this point, those of you who are here yesterday and looking at her, you know, I usually fill in the orbit of the eyes with a dark color. I think I might have, I'm just going to have to mix it today. I left my brown liner downstairs, and I don't have my walnut brown or my black and brown either, so what we're going to do is we're going to mix a little bit of pure black with ruddy leather. This works, actually. If you need a dark brown, and you do not have a dark brown, but you have these two colors, which are, again, very versatile, you can mix your own dark brown by putting about, I want to say, 3 drops of the ruddy leather, 1 drop of the pure black, because pure black is extremely strong. And that should give me a nice dark brown to do these eyes with. If Ingrid was going to be very pale, I could just do the ruddy leather, actually. It's dark enough. But I tend to like to go a little darker than that, because I want more drama. More contrast, usually better on smaller figures, especially when it comes down to doing the line of the mouth, which is another thing I would do at this point. So well, we're zoomed in, so I cannot show you guys the palette, but all right. So next step. Whoa, it's Michael Proctor. Clever Crow. Man, we're getting all the Reaper pros, all the famous Reaper names in here this morning to watch me mess up this face. Or at least you missed the babble early on, Michael. They wouldn't let me get on topic today. They wanted all the questions. All right, so I'm gonna load up my brush. I'm not thinning this very much, actually. It's probably just about my base coat. It's like a 4-to-1, I want to say. So maybe 1 brush full or drop of water and 4 drops of paint. And I'm loading up my very, very thin brush because I want to hit the line of that mouth. And even now, I think I've got too much paint in my brush. So I'm going to wipe it off. So you want to make sure you do not blob paint everywhere when you are trying to paint the line of that mouth. And you want to put, and I see a lot of painters miss this step, but you want to put a line between the lips. And usually what that means is you're actually painting the upper lip in a dark color. Since most 28mm models don't have a very defined upper lip, this one actually does a little bit. But you want that line of that mouth. I see I see a lot of newer painters neglect that. They'll do the eyes, but then they won't actually line the mouth. It gives so much more expression to the model. Like if I wanted her to have a little bit of a smirk on, this is when I would do it. I would actually make sure that I get the end of the lips here kind of slightly upturned. You can kind of paint plastic surgery it. See, and now she's got a smirk. So for adding expression, doing that line of the mouth is really important. You could also make sure that she's frowning. You make her frowning, you make her smiling. That's the nice thing about a neutral face. You know, a lot of the time I hear Ed say he doesn't like the neutral face as much, but it is very versatile. You can make it frowny or slightly smirky or smiley with minimal effort at that point. Let's see here. I want to get my sweet spot. I think that's my sweet spot for focus. I'm going to paint in the orbitals of the eyes. Just what I like to do, the way I do eyeballs. Everybody does eyeballs slightly differently. I need to get from the other side because my paint isn't too runny. You need a better angle. Let's see here. Yeah, she looks like ancient from this angle. Well, I'm a little shaky this morning, which is funny because I haven't had caffeine. Like, not a lot anyway. There's one eyeball, mostly painted in. And if you get a little rough, like I did here, you can go back and touch it up. That's the beauty of doing this early on. Probably shouldn't have done that first highlight, but I can go back with my rosy skin and correct any mistakes that I have done. And there are often mistakes, because just because I've been painting for forever and like am somewhat decent at it, does not mean I do not make mistakes all the time. And the big thing with mistakes and mini painting, you guys, is to just get back on the horse. Paint over your mistake, put it out of your head, keep going. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody blorfs, as to use a technical term that I use. Everybody blorfs. And the only difference between, one person blorfing and another person blorfing is whether that person keeps painting and fixes what they've done. So, all right, really dark. Somewhat decent Anne, somewhat decent painter. Yeah, painting eyes live on camera, talk about high stress, you betcha. Yes, I do judge you at ReaperCon. Yes, I'm silently judging you. Ah, dear. Oh, good, Lurka Spleen. Thank you for ordering the koalas. I think they're just really cute and fun. I've got my white out, so I'm actually going to paint in the whites of the eyes. I did eyes yesterday also. That was yesterday's episode using the Faceless Horror, showing you guys what a great model that is for practicing eyes. So let's see here. Again, you want your brush to not distort too much. So I'm questioning whether this is sharp enough. I think I need to unload it just a little bit more. Making sure your brush has the adequate amount of paint and not too much, and that it comes to a very sharp point is like really key. In getting a good eyeball. And I need to thin my white just it's kind of a battle. Like, you need to thin your white enough that it comes off the brush well, and it's just a hair too thick here. But you also don't want to thin it too much, because you want it to cover, because you don't want to have to repaint the whites of these eyes 16 times. If Anna's half decent, then I'm 75% terrible. Oh, Lord. All right, let's see here. Let's get this white. It's a little bit thinner now, so I have to be careful to unload my brush a lot, because if you don't, it's going to run, and it's going to want to get into the orbital where you painted that dark line, and you don't want to lose your dark line. So that's a lot better. If ever your paint is not wanting to come off your brush and you're using a thin brush with a good tip, thin your paint just a tiny bit more. It means that you just aren't quite getting the fluid action that you need. Which means I'm 25% okay. Super win! Yay! But what would the bug lips emote be? Because, getting the other eyeball in there. Little eyeballs, tiny little eyeballs. Her other eyeball needs to be a little longer. Solve this issue by painting a mini without eyes. Way to evade. Way to evade, KSB Noel. But you're never going to get better at them unless you try them and paint them. And that's why I recommend the Faceless Horror. It's a really low-stress monster as far as that goes. Well, other than costing your sanity points to look at. You're just painting a bunch of eyes, so it doesn't matter if any given eye is perfect. So it's great for practice. Now I blorfed a little bit there. I think I made that eye just a little bit too big. All right, well, that's not too bad. Yes. Woo-doo. Yeah, we don't have smell emotes. Yeah, getting super distracted by other projects is a mini painter thing. I mean, I personally also always get distracted by I'm trying so hard right now to concentrate on my creature caster model for their competition at Adepticon, and things keep dragging me away. But I'm gonna go back with my liner paint and make this eye just a little bit smaller, and then I'm gonna touch it up. There we go. Now I'm feeling a little bit better there. All right. Yeah, I mean, they're such an inexpensive model for what they are, Coos. I mean, it's a nice, big, scary-looking model to scare your characters with, and you could really throw any stat line at it. I mean, it could be so many different things in D&D. Let's see here. So what do I want now? I want to maybe put another highlight on. I want eyebrows for sure, so maybe I'll do those in a dark brown. She pencils her eyebrows. What can I say? I'm going to thin my paint a little bit. So for eyebrows, most models are sculpted with a pretty straight brow line, but you can still make elegant eyebrows with a little bit of work. Eyebrows are definitely count as freehand unless you are actually following the brow line. If you don't have 20 unfinished models on your desk, you're not trying. Thank you, David Clearman. So true. I actually have less than that. I'm trying to reduce. It's like losing weight. It's really hard. You have one month where you finish 2 and then you overeat or overpaint and then you get 4 more. I think that's the first time that anybody has compared the shelf of shame to losing weight. I think it's very apt, though. Oh, too many shinies. Oh, yeah, in my not safe for work. Yeah, I would use her for more Patreon content, but because she is not safe for work, I'd have to put pasties on her or something. She actually comes with pasties. Like, you know it's a Slaanesh model or a wannabe Slaanesh model if it comes with pasties. It's definitely a naughty demon. How about that? But so yeah, so maybe I'll sticky tack on stuff to cover her nudity and actually use her for some NMM stuff in the Patreon because she is a beautiful model, just a really nice, very complicated sculpt. All right, so eyebrows. So if you want to just do, a standard eyeball that does not involve freehand, you probably want to use the side of your brush and kind of use it to draw a line on that brow ridge. And you don't want to tip your brush in too sharp toward the eye, or obviously you're going to paint the eye, and you don't want it too shallow, or you're going to get paint all over the forehead. You want very little paint on your brush, and you want to just lay it on that brow ridge and kind of stroke it that way. Easy way to do eyeballs, folks, right there. Ta-da, eyebrow. You have followed the brow ridge. It is not too much of a man brow. Don't paint it over the nose, arch in the nose, unless you want crazy brows. And then if you want to do freehand and make her with really swoopy, awesome Angelina Jolie, or actually I thought Michelle Pfeiffer always had the best eyebrows, the ones that look kind of like dragon wings, you can do a freehand. If the demon is not naughty, it's not a demon. I guess you are right, by definition. So I will usually put a slightly heavier dot toward the inside of the brow because the interior of an eyebrow is typically thicker. And then, this might need just a tad more water. Hold on, just a tiny tad. You get a feel for paint consistency over time. The more you paint, and this is where you really got to sit down and just paint. And pay attention to your paint consistency. Pay attention to like what your paint is like when you can get a nice thin line or when you're having trouble with that. The best thing you can do when you paint, even if you only had half an hour a week of painting, you would always get better if you focused on learning paint consistency. Paying attention to how your paint acts. You will always improve, even with only half an hour painting a week. So do paint, do pay attention. All right, so now I'm going to come, my brush is really razor sharp. It needs to be, because I need to be able to draw that line. Yeah, it's sad when the 28mm eyebrow miniature has more eyebrows. You can go unibrow, but I wouldn't on poor Ingrid. And then you want to go a little bit up. You want it to swoop down toward the outer edge. I may have swooped too late. That's a pretty elegant eyebrow, actually, for a gnome. And if I want to, I can make it go... You got to be careful when you're drawing on an eyebrow because it's really easy to make them look mad. If you go down too much in the middle, you're going to look mad. So pay attention kind of to how you want her to look. I think that's pretty good, actually. And it mostly follows the brow line. You can have it swoop a little bit and vary on the line of the brow. On a 28mm, it's easier to do that than it is in real life. We have eyebrows. Eyebrows help so much. So, lip color, let's show you how I use my deep red and my rosy skin. And the color that this makes, when you mix deep red with a skin tone, is a beautiful kind of faded rose, dark rose color. And it'll vary by which paint you're using. But this is a color that I typically like to start with for lips. A lot of people will also line the bottom of the lip, and although that can look artificial, it can also look very elegant and sexy. So again, it depends on the model that you want. Now this sort of lip color is usable for male or female, although usually with men you want to go a little bit more toward the skin tone. I made hers quite dark, but I can change that by mixing in a little bit more rosy skin to get a lighter rose color. And I can highlight with that so that she's, essentially I don't want an artificial lipstick look necessarily. I want more of a natural lip color. Now, deep red does have a bit of blue in it, so it does go a little bit purpley. If you don't like that, you could use something more like blood red. Just be careful, because using the Clear Brights or anything close to them will give you a very vibrant pink. And I always create a naturalistic lip color by mixing the actual skin tone I'm using with a red of some sort. I find that is the secret to getting a natural lip color that goes with the skin color of the model. I'm going to mix about 1 drop of rosy skin and about 3 drops of white to get a final highlight for this face. I'm going to check my time. It's about time to finish this. I have not done the eyeballs yet. We'll do those last. Although I think she's looking pretty good, actually. I lost a little bit of the line of the mouth when I put on that lip color, so I'll have to correct that. But I'm going to do a quick highlight. So highlights for the face. The strongest highlights are going to appear on the brow ridge, on the bridge of the nose, on the top of the cheekbone, and on the chin. And putting a highlight here on the chin is going to help define that lower lip also. So we're looking there. And also I tend to put a little bit of a highlight on the nostrils if they are sculpted, or even if they're not, just to bring in, you want to be careful there, not to make the nose look too broad, but like that. So her face is really coming up nicely. I might put a little bit of a highlight on her lower lip. A little harder to do that. And I'm going to redefine the line of the mouth and do the eyes. Be very careful. Let me get that brush really flat. Really sharp. Make sure your brush has paint mostly off of it. All right, eyeballs. Remember, just like yesterday, we're going to load up our brush with a bit of paint. Dark brown typically is what I will use. Usually walnut, but I'm just going to use my typical brown here. And we're going to go up from underneath so that the tip of our brush catches the top eyelid and puts down that dot of paint right where we want it. Paint on the exhale, not on the inhale. Do not hold your breath on the inhale. You will shake. That's coming, but it's not quite big enough yet. I need a little bit more paint. And I want to, she is definitely looking toward her stone, so I can make the eye a little bit bigger. That's better. I like that better. So yeah, there you go. Now, it is possible to do a catch light in the eye on a 28mm model, but you definitely have a danger of covering up your pupil and losing the expression. So kind of decide if you like that or if you want that effect. There, I lost a little bit of the interior of that eye. You can see it went very dark, so I'm going to actually grab my white, get a very small amount of it, and I'm going to put a dot of white toward the inside of her eye to correct the fact that my pupil got out of control.
Thank you for the raid there, damn it, Daniel.
Yep, there we go. We have eyeballs, guys. We have eyeballs. Just in time. except, damn it, Daniel, that I'm almost done. But hey, y'all can see the face that I just painted on this little gnome, and you can go to our YouTube channel at Reaper Miniatures and watch this episode after it goes up if you want to see what you missed. Oh, the other place to put a highlight, which I totally forgot as I was distracted, and because she doesn't have much of one, is the upper lip. So I'm going to come in and just kind of get a little bit. It can be hard, right? Because you kind of want a shadow under the nose, but you also want that upper lip to come out. You don't want to ignore it. So there. I think she's a pretty little gnomelet. Thunderflux samples are always one-offs. They are not existing colors. When we are in the paint department, every once in a while, a formula will not work as planned, or we make a mistake. And so essentially it goes out as a free sample so that we're not just throwing the paint away. So unfortunately, if you brought it to ReaperCon, I could tell you how to mix it, is the best I can do for you. But it's never actually, if it was actually a produced color, we would produce it under its actual name. So yeah. Yeah, and lately, oh, that was years ago. So it was probably a sample I did. I like to do skin tone samples every once in a while. Yeah, well, if you come to ReaperCon or catch me at a convention, I'm going to Adepticon coming up. I don't know where you are in the world or what cons you go to. But if you bring the paint to me, I will be able to look at it and squeeze a little out and tell you pretty much how to mix it. That is my magic power. Since I created Master Series and I've spent the last 15 years mixing paint for a living, I can do it. Yeah, same with you, Rings. If you want to know how to mix it, just bring it along. I'll be able to probably get you real close. I'll try to do it in the fewest steps possible.
Thank you for that gift bond there.
Yeah, I saw that, Motor City Ray. Thank you. Yay! Even though we don't give a free right now, guys, every sub that we get during this show helps convince Ed that it's worth it to continue to produce this show and to put our hours into it. So it is always much appreciated when you gift bomb or sub. Always.
Well, thank you, Zealous Hunter. Another raid. Look at that. 15
wow,
more people.
Everybody wants to raid us, and it's Face Day. And I will tell you guys who just came to us with Zealous Hunter, welcome. This is Reaper Master Series Pro Tips. We do this 11 a.m. Central USA time on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And today was face painting, and as you can see, we're pretty much done with our pretty little gnome, Ingrid. However, you can watch this episode in its entirety up on our YouTube channel after Justin gets it up later today. So yeah.
Actually, there's a minimum of 24 hours between uploads. Between when the show airs to when it gets
okay,
uploaded.
So tomorrow?
So tomorrow at about noon, yes.
All right.
When you'll see it.
Fantastic. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. You want to go back to Facecam, Justin? I can't believe I painted my thumbnail. That's so Marika of me. But it was like the only thing on camera. I don't normally paint on my thumb, but when I'm zoomed in on a model and I don't have my palette available to show you guys what the paint looks like, the thumb is useful. But yeah. So welcome. I'm sorry you hit us at the end of the day, everybody who joined in from those other streams, but it's good to meet you. I'm Anne. I work for Reaper Miniatures, and I created the Master Series paint line. And I do a painting show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. And then I also actually am on this afternoon at 3 p.m. as well. So after Justin and I wrap this one, we're going to run out and feed ourselves and prep for the next show. So I think... Yeah, I almost never paint on my thumb. It really is like if I'm trying to illustrate something on the camera for you guys and I want you to see the paint consistency, I probably should just like find a little clear like thumb thimble.
All right. Well, thanks guys.
You're going to hear my voice in your head now, Silverthorn. I have painter friends who say that I've critiqued them for so long that when they're painting, they hear my voice in their head yelling at them. I not like I ever yell. All right. Yes, you guys, Reaper is my addiction. I'm thinking I might do, I finished the rock mostly, but I might do some detailing on the rock, and I might start the white dragon. It depends on if I can prep it. But we'll see.
Also, shout out to my lovely fiance for sneak watching the show at work.
Oh, yes. Michaeli, I see you out there somewhere. Haha.
All right, guys. Well, I have a raid ready for us. And
that's a good question for Ed on Thursday's evening show, Rax 333. I know that it's been discussed, but I don't think anything like, I don't think we're far into R&D on that to see if it's feasible. So I don't know. All right.
You ready, Miss Ann?
Yeah, I think it's time. Who are we rating?
We are rating Dices. She was actually hanging out in chat earlier. She might still be. I don't know. That's a good
All right,
question.
cool. Somebody new. So spread the Reaper love, everybody. And thank you for tuning in.
Semi-new.
Oh, okay.
We've rated her before.
Okay,
yeah.
we just don't. She isn't like, I don't think I've rated her before though.
Maybe not. She's awesome.
Okay, I will take your word for it.
All right, guys.
So say hello, and I'll see you guys back at 3 p.m. in a few hours.
3 p.m. and spread the Reaper love. Tell Dices we
always.
said hi, and you guys have a great day.
Will do, Chris Air.
Wave goodbye, Ann.